What's going on there, YouTube, and welcome back to another comic book video. All right, guys, so we are going to continue our coverage over the Trial of X era of X-Men comics. Now, remember, when it comes to the Trial of X era of X-Men comics, it takes place after the Hellfire Gala event. Because remember, in 2018, Jonathan Hickman took over the X-Men titles and gave each era basically a name. So you had Dawn of X, then you had Reign of X, then you have Trial of X. Now, Trial of X is what we're currently talking about. Now, with that being said, we actually pick up with the Marauders. Now, remember, the Marauders was Emma Frost's team. But on top of that, Emma Frost controls the Hellfire Club. Now, she does not have complete control over the Hellfire Club. She shares that control with Sebastian Shaw and Kitty Pryde. Either way, the Hellfire Club and the Marauders were basically this company/team that would go around to different countries to make sure that deals were basically being done. Because when the mutant race became a nation, of course, they had to make trades with other nations. And so that would happen when it came to Marauders. They went around to make sure those trades basically got done, but to also help mutants who are trying to leave countries who would not allow them to leave to come over to COPPA, the mutant nation. And so that was the original idea of the Marauders. Now, after Trial of X, Emma Frost, who threw the big Hellfire Gala event, she's been trying to kind of calm the flames down. And the reason why, because with the Hellfire Gala event, that was her idea. To throw a big, huge party, to have all these humans there to show off what the mutants were able to actually accomplish in their short period of time of being a nation, which was a lot. But the problem was, though, they did a lot of things to tick off a lot of different humans. And so ever since the end of the Hellfire Gala event, but the beginning of the Trial of X, it's really been more of Emma Frost just trying to calm down the flames, because right now she has a lot of different things going on at the moment. And so it's her trying to be the best she can be. Now, originally, when it comes to the Marauders, they stay on Earth. They stay on land. But for this storyline, they're going to be in space. And so as we actually get into today's storyline, we actually do pick up with a spaceship right now trying to travel towards Earth. The problem is, though, he has to pass by Mars. Now, when it comes to Mars, at this point in Marvel Comics, it's actually a planet where humans and mutants can live on. Now, mutants are the only race on Mars. And on top of that, it's only the mutants from Arakko, the second mutant island that came out of the X of Swords crossover event. Either way, though, with that being said, this guy is trying to travel towards Earth, but he has to pass Mars. And while he's trying to pass Mars, he stopped by the second sword base. So each planet right now, Earth and Mars, they have their own sword base. And basically, those bases watch over the planet to make sure that any threat from space can come to Mars or Earth and do harm to either of the planets. And so with this guy trying to go to Earth, he is stopped by sword base number 2 that watches over Mars, because basically he was passing Mars. And he tells the sword base, listen, I cannot stop by your base for any kind of inspection. I have to get to Earth. I'm on the clock. And so you do have this guy really trying his best to get to Earth, but he's shot out of the sky or space and he crashes on Mars. And really, he crashes in the Arakko area. And so some time does pass by where we actually do pick up with the Marauders right now arriving to Arakko, thanks to their spaceship known as the Mercury. Now, when they do arrive to Arakko, you do have basically the Marauders go their separate ways because they all came here for different reasons. Now, Emma Frost actually tagged along. And the reason why she tagged along because she got a call from Abigail Brand. Now, of course, Abigail Brand is the leader of SWORD. And so if anything happens on any of the bases, she's the first one to know about it. And so right now you basically have Abigail Brand telling Emma Frost, hey, giving you the heads up, some alien crashed on Araco a while back and he was actually looking for you. So I called you up so that you can basically look into why this character came to Earth or tried to go to Earth, but crashed on Araco was looking for you. And so Emma Frost comes to find out that the person who crashed on Araco and was looking for her is Eden Rixlow. Now, we're going to call him Rixlow for the rest of the video. But when it comes to Rixlow, he basically has a past with Emma Frost. And what I mean by that is, apparently they did something together in the past. And they had a deal. The problem was, though, Emma Frost took Eden Rixlow's spaceship. Now, real quick, when it comes to Eden Rixlow, he used to work for the Nova Corps. And the Nova Corps is kind of like the Green Lanterns of Marvel Comics. They go around and basically police the entire universe. Now, Eden was a very good member of the Nova Corps. Like, his track record shows that he was doing an amazing job. But then he had some missions where, yes, those missions did get accomplished, but it was how they were accomplished that was very bad, which of course got him kicked out of the Nova Corps, which then led him to do some more dirty work on the side. And so with that being said, you do have right now Eden Rixlow coming to Emma Frost to get his spaceship back, because apparently they worked together on some kind of deal. And the deal was that he was going to help her out with something, and in return, she'll give him something in return. The problem was, though, Eden Rixlow tried to double cross her. And because he tried to do that, Emma Frost took his spaceship, the Mercury. And so right now, he's kind of like, listen, I just want my spaceship back, because technically I would never agree to give you my spaceship. But then you have Emma Frost say, you know what, I did use my powers on you, but only because you tried to double cross me. And now this does lead into a battle between Eden Rixlow against Emma Frost, Kitty Pryde, and later on Sebastian Shaw. But as the fight goes on, you do have Sebastian Shaw say that, listen, let's stop the fighting. If he's here for a spaceship, then how about this? We'll just pay him a lot of something that could basically replace the spaceship so that he'll get over it and he'll just leave us alone. And so then we kind of find out how the Marauders are basically going to repay Rixlow for taking his ship, which is by using Mysterium. Now, when it comes to Mysterium, you have to remember, it's a very rare metal in the universe that the mutants have discovered. And so with the metal being so rare, of course, it costs a lot of money. And so they give Rixlow a huge amount of this Mysterium as a way to, kind of say, hey man, listen, this covered the cost of us taking your ship, but also it gives you more money to use for something else you want to get. It's basically making Rixlow a very powerful, rich man. Now, of course, you do have Rixlow agree. He's kind of like, cool, you know what? Everything's cool now. And so we do see them sit down and they have dinner with each other, the Marauders, including Rixlow. And you think that Rixlow is going to get over the idea that basically he lost his spaceship to Emma Frost, but instead he doesn't. And the reason why, because he goes to a certain part of the spaceship, he hits a button, it closes the doors around him, but it sends the Marauders out of the spaceship right in the middle of space to be left for dead. But back on Earth, this is a very huge moment. And the reason why, because back on Earth, we actually pick up with the treehouse. Now, when it comes to the treehouse, it's the actual base for the main X-Men team. The one we see with Scott Summers, Jean Grey, and Rogue, and the rest of them. Either way, though, we do pick up with a human who basically hates mutants. And so he's trying to burn down the place. Now, when he tries to burn down the treehouse base, he is stopped by a mysterious lady. And that lady is actually Laudris Chantel. And I really hope I pronounce her first name correctly. But when it comes to Laudris Chantel, she is the ex-girlfriend that we learned about in our last Marauders video, the ex-girlfriend to Sebastian Shaw. Because remember, back in the early days of Marvel Comics, she was actually part of the Hellfire Club, the original Hellfire Club. The problem was, though, she was dating Sebastian Shaw. She did love him, but she realized that if she stayed with him, she could possibly end up dead because he was very abusive to her. And so she had Emma Frost come up with this master plan to basically fake her death as a way to get away from Sebastian Shaw. The problem was, though, Emma Frost just told Sebastian Shaw that his ex-girlfriend never truly died. She actually survived, and she's somewhere out there in the world hiding from him because how abusive he was to her. And so this is her basically right now coming back. And the question is, though, why is she coming back now? Because the Mutant Nation has been around for a good period of time. So why did she wait until now to come back? And so getting into Marauders number 25, we actually do pick up with the Marauders right now trapped in the middle of space. And we're left to believe that they are going to die. But that is the moment you do have Iceman use his powers as a way to kind of surround the team in an ice ball. Because when it comes to Iceman, he's basically in this ice form where he does not need any oxygen at all to basically survive. Now, with this ice ball, it does give the Marauders more chance to breathe some oxygen in to keep them alive. But of course, that oxygen is going to go away very soon. And so you then have Pyro use his heat as well to kind of heat the place up because they're in the ice ball, but his heat is also going to actually burn off the oxygen as well. And so you have Kitty Pryde basically use the powers of Iceman and Pyro and also herself to kind of create more oxygen to stay alive longer. But here's a problem, though. They're right now stuck in the middle of space in an ice ball. How in the world are they going to get to a nearby planet or a nearby spaceship? And that's where Bishop and Sebastian Shaw come in. Because with Bishop and Sebastian Shaw, they basically absorb kinetic energy, but they're able to release that kinetic energy. And so you do have the two guys begin to punch one another. And this is actually a great idea because the more times they punch each other, the more kinetic energy that they're basically absorbing. And when they absorb enough kinetic energy, they can just release that energy and they become the thrusters to basically this ice ball. They made their own kind of ice ball spaceship. And their goal is to do this idea to get them close enough to the Mercury so that Kitty Pryde can sneak onto the Mercury, take down Rixlow, and get the ship back. And so that is their master plan. And honestly, it works. They're able to actually get back on a spaceship. Well, Kitty Pryde is by phasing through the ice ball and then phasing through the spaceship. But she was able to get back on the spaceship, which honestly, this shows how creative this team is with their powers to keep alive or to stay alive. Now, with Kitty Pryde being back on the ship, that means that basically she'll be able to take the ship back away from Rixlow. But what she does first is that she makes sure that Rixlow will not be able to actually use the ship against her by turning off different things that he could possibly do against her. And so after she does all that by using her power for the most part, she does sneak up on Rixlow. Now, when she does, of course, Rixlow is very confident that he'll be able to actually take down Kitty Pryde. The problem is, though, Kitty Pryde is a great fighter. She's been on a lot of different kinds of adventures over the years in Marvel Comics. But on top of that, they fought earlier in this storyline, and he only won because he somewhat cheated. But on top of that, he was stopped, or they were stopped by Sebastian Shaw. And so with them having a fair fight, of course, Rixlow does not really stand a chance against Kitty Pryde. Now, after they battle for a good amount of pages, you do have Emma Frost take over his mind to stop Rixlow in his place so that Kitty Pryde can basically open up the spaceship to let the rest of the Marauders in. And so the Marauders were able to recover the Mercury. But the question is now, what are they going to do with Rixlow? Because Rixlow basically has to go somewhere. So what are you going to actually do with him? And so what they're going to do with Rixlow is that they're going to leave him on Araco, on Mars, to basically say, hey, listen, we're not going to take back our Mysterium, but we're going to leave you on Mars until you are able to actually find a way off Mars and to hopefully go somewhere else. Now, for Rixlow, he's kind of like, listen, you may have stopped me for now, but sooner or later, I'm going to come back. And when I do come back, I'm going to get my ship, but also get payback against you guys. But for the Marauders, especially Emma Frost, she's kind of like, dude, go ahead. You can try, but we are always going to win. And so with that being said, this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. And so with that, I do hope you guys enjoyed today's comic book video. And if you did, please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, I'll see y'all next time. Later.